What makes you guys stick out?
We are a smaller team, but not in a bad way. I think that makes it better. These owners are dealing directly with the people that went and met them at the property. They trust us, and it's just a better relationship, I think.
Did you see yourself falling into that role?
I've always had it in the back of my head somewhere. Going into that role was kind of natural.
What are some of the things that have brought you out of your comfort zone?
Just constantly being on the phone with people. There was this one day I did maybe like 30 to 40 calls. Dealing with problems as they come in, that was like a huge change. Just learning how to react and get things done as quickly, efficiently as possible.
Hey folks, welcome to episode 9 of Moments in Construction. Super excited today to introduce you to our property management team, our Visa team. Today we have Chandler, Tyler, and John with us here today. So I'll start off the convo first asking you a fun fact. So I want to know, I feel like I've seen you guys here and there. Most of us work remote, or if you're not on site, then I'm, not always there. We've seen each other at like the team gatherings, and like we talk to each other for like the team events and the day to day. But I got to know, like, what are your fun facts? So who wants to start us off?
Fun facts?
Yeah.
I'll let Chandler go first.
Fun fact. I don't know.
Okay, you live down in Florida.
I do live down in Florida.
That's a fun
Yes,
fact.
yes.
So while the rest of us live in Jersey, you live down in Florida. What's
Yes.
that like? What's a normal Saturday for you down there?
Just going to the beach, hanging by the pool, but the pool is more so like an everyday thing.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think it's just weird sometimes coordinating and doing everything in like a setting like by the pool,
Yeah.
by the beach, but making it work.
He lives a good life.
The fun fact is that you just have fun.
Just
period.
have fun. Just do the work in the best possible location.
Love that. Okay. Work-life
Although,
harmony.
Fun fact, when I started doing real estate, I didn't want to do property management at all. Tommy kept asking me, and I was like, no, I just want to buy real estate, and that's it. And then eventually it got to a point where he's like, please, can you help? And I was like, okay, I'll start. And then I started going like 2 hours a day, and now we've built up to this pretty much more than full time. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, why was Tommy reaching out to you in particular? What was the history there?
Well, I reached out to him
Yeah.
to learn about real estate.
Okay.
But when he started asking me, hey, like this property management stuff is getting really intense, and he was doing it completely by himself. And we didn't have any systems in place. We were texting people off our phones. Everything was in group chats. There was nothing. So I came along and started helping him where I could, and now we've systemized it into what we have today.
Yeah. Okay, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to probe a little more there. But
Okay.
before we do, John, do you have a fun fact?
So I was connected with Tommy through a mutual acquaintance and brought on board to do just some maintenance items and just to do some things. And it's kind of grown rather quickly. And now Matt has me on board full time and just seeing where it takes us.
Yeah, I've been going
It did happen very quickly.
Yeah.
super quickly, yeah.
I remember when he first started, it was like 3 days out of the week. And
It was like the next week, it was like, oh, you're full time.
Well, we didn't have property meld, and it was just like emails being sent out and trying to approve and coordinate everything like as we went.
Lots of group texts.
Lots of group
Lots
texts.
of group texts.
Emails, and just kind of going with the flow. And then it's transitioned into, like you said, just completely full time, and now managing all the turnovers and everything on that front.
How is that like? So you guys talk on a regular basis, but you don't see each other every day. So how do you guys make sure to maintain optimal communication
So
here?
Chandler and I text literally
Okay.
all day long. We might jump on a phone call every now and then if something doesn't make sense, but we literally text all day long, probably from 8 in the morning to sometimes 6, 7 o'clock at night, just making sure things are done or going the way they need to, or, but I mean, we're in literally constant communication throughout the day.
Yeah. It's so funny because on my phone, you know when you're about to start a text and it gives you suggestions of who you should reach out to? None of it is my family, friends, or partner. It's simply my coworkers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So then you two communicate constantly day to day via text. Tell us a little bit more about your roles within Visa and the property management. So why in you two in particular is it so important that you're constantly talking to each other?
So it always starts with the tenant submitting a request through Buildium or emailing us, calling us, or submitting a request through Property Meld. And then from there, I'll go in and try to figure out what the actual problem is, instruct them to make the meld. And then from there, they make the meld. It is assigned to usually John. And then it's coordinated through Property Meld or through Buildium, whichever is the easiest route to coordinate with them. A lot of the residents aren't that like tech savvy, so sometimes it's just a simple phone call, and then I'll like relay the message to John, or if it's through Property Meld, he sees the time frame, and then it's just taken care of between John and the resident after all of that communication is done.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you're the main point of contact via Property Meld for the tenants.
Yeah, initially.
Okay.
And then there's chats through Property Meld where the resident, the managers, and John can see it, or there's threads just between us and the resident, us and John, and then we just update each other as we go on the threads.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And so the Property Meld, is that something that you implemented, someone else on the team implemented? Was it already there when you joined?
No, it wasn't. We had Buildium, and Buildium is what the residents would do is they would just submit a task. Mm-hmm. But there's no way to update anybody. There's no way to really efficiently assign anybody. Keeping track of things was extremely manual. And once they submitted a task, we would then have to go and try to coordinate for the best time and date without knowing anything about their schedule. Mm-hmm. Now with Property Meld, they input dates and times that they're available. And once it's assigned, all John has to do is click on a date and a time, and it automatically is added to the schedule. And then everybody sees that. I see that, John sees that, the residents see that. Mm-hmm. So everybody's on the same page, and it's just easy to keep track of everything through Property Meld. And I think a while back, me and Tommy were looking into Property Meld. We jumped on a bunch of like
The demo calls.
with them, and it just made everybody's life 1,000 times easier.
Way easier, yeah. And I think that's one of the neat features that whether it's Visa or whether it's Prodzic, we're all so, I wouldn't say tech savvy, but we're always constantly trying to improve a process, and that usually ends up being through technology.
Yes.
So Property Meld for sure sounds like a win on the property management side.
Yeah.
John, how is it like for you dealing with this platform, and how does it help your day-to-day?
It makes it very easy because I can see what the problem is, straight from the tenant, and then I can communicate with them directly if I have to, which occasionally I do just to get ideas or if I have to move an appointment around. And most of them are very quick and easy with it, so it's good. And then we use it for weekly tasks, things that I have to do on a regular basis, getting garbages or cleanings or that type of thing. So, and I can just keep moving them and rescheduling them so that we continue to use the same meld, but it's scheduled, let's say for Monday at 8, then I can move it to the following Monday for 8, so that it makes it easy to keep track of everything. And it's a great platform. It's extremely easy to use.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. So now I want to shift it to Tyler. Tyler, what is your role within this right now?
Right now, I'm really focusing on the lease renewals. I do a lot of rent collection and also just new business. So whenever like people come in, calls like, hey, like we want you to manage our property, I'm the one that's talking to them, running them down the list of what we do and how we do it, how we could help. Then I usually go out there, last time I went with Chandler because he was here, or Tommy, and we just meet with the property owner and go to the properties, see what they have, and then just kind of try to give them a good price.
Okay. So your role has definitely shifted a little bit from what you first started.
I was Chandler, but it was a lot harder when I was doing it because we didn't have the systems in place.
Yeah.
And
He crawled so you could run, Chandler.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't have John either, unfortunately. So I would have to take in tenant requests, which would be coming straight through text message. And then we didn't have like a full-time contractor. So I would have to reach out to like 5 people to like try to get things done on the spot. And it was very hard to keep up with it because everything was in text and I had to like keep scheduling with the tenant and the contractor. And it was not like the communication was very difficult.
But thankfully it was, much smaller than I'm assuming, so at least a bit
It
more
was
manageable.
a lot easier. We didn't have multiple third-party property owners, so that made it a little bit easier because it was kind of just through Matt, and we could kind of free range do what we needed to do because he understood. Like, okay, if there's something that needs to get fixed, go ahead and fix it.
Yeah.
But now with the third party, we have to get everything approved. We have to tell the owners it's going to cost you this much. We're going to send our contractor out, and then he's going to address it, and we'll go from there. So it's a lot more communication on Chandler's end and John's end.
Gotcha. Okay. So people used to have access to your direct cell phone. Any
terrible.
freaky stories there?
Middle of the night calls
Yeah?
all
Oh,
the time. I told Chandler when he started working, I was like, do not give any tenants your personal phone number.
Yeah.
Because they're texting you, calling you at all hours of the day and night. So it's just, it got
Do they
ridiculous.
still reach out even now?
We still get them, yeah. I still have old tenants that have my number that still call me.
Okay.
And I have to tell them, like, please go through Buildium. Like, this number is not a personal number. Tommy started blocking everybody because he's like, I can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah, personal boundaries for sure. It's tough because, you want to be responsive to the client. You want to be there for them. But at the same
100%.
time, like, you need to set that
At
boundary.
like 11 p.m., like, it gets rough.
Not even texting my mom at 11
Yeah.
p.m., let alone.
So.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Cool. So,
I have an interesting story.
I would
about
love to hear
that.
it. Yes, please do.
Sometimes when we're enrolling new residents
Yeah.
and everything, like, just like, my first instinct, just pull up the phone app and type in their number and give them a call. So I would do that. He would always like get on me. He's like, dude, don't give out your personal number, this, that. And I'm like, it's just a force of habit. So I called these tenants down in Gloucester City and they were fine. Somehow the boyfriend of one of the residents got my phone number, called me, started asking me questions about rent, saying that the girlfriend is charging him rent and it was a larger number than what the rent actually is. And then he had the audacity to call me, personal number, randomly, and ask to borrow $50 from me.
That's so wild. He legit just called you and was like, hey, can I?
He legit just called me. He's like, hey, I'm XYZ's boyfriend. You got like $50 I can borrow.
That's so, well, you made him feel comfortable enough.
Which was the problem. It's hard to find the middle
Yeah,
ground.
for
Being
sure.
nice, making them feel comfortable, but
Yeah.
also never expecting something like
Absolutely.
Sure, just hop on a plane and fly down to Florida.
What did you tell him? How do you shut someone down like that when they're so direct?
that. I said, no, we don't do that. And then I blocked the number right after.
Okay.
Not even a tenant.
Not even a tenant. No, it
Interesting.
was so weird.
Yeah.
I was so caught by surprise.
Yeah. What about you, John? Any on-site stories that pop up? Oh, squatters. That's like an
yeah.
interesting
Oh,
one.
yeah, we had a squatter in one of the new construction projects that we're working on in Newark. And I was showing the unit to a prospective tenant, and the father was going through the apartment, and he opened a closet door, and there he was in the closet.
So wait, they actually saw
Yes.
the person there sleep. Okay,
He was
interesting.
just
I thought
standing
it was
there hiding. And, I asked him somewhat politely, but forcefully, if he could leave. He is a regular in the area, so I know who he is, and he's apologized multiple times, but, did find somebody
Okay.
in the apartment.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Okay. Was your reaction in that moment more so?
I was more angry than anything because
Okay.
we're showing a new unit
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
a prospective
sure.
tenant in a brand new building, and it was kind of an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm glad you were there to address it because if it was me, I'd be freaked out, first of all. I don't do well with jump scares.
it was interesting,
Yeah.
to say
Okay.
the least.
All right. I'm sure you guys have plenty of more stories. So if you have any more fun ones, I know you do, let me know. But for now, I want to pivot the conversation a little bit and ask you. So you both have been on the team. John, you most recently, and Chandler as well. And then Tyler, you're more of an OG in a sense. But since each of you have joined within your role, what has the growth or what are some of the realizations on your own capacities been since joining the team? So maybe we can start with John, because I know, John, you scaled up pretty quickly. So how has that been like?
It's been very interesting. So I was hired basically part-time to do maintenance. And that scaled up pretty quickly to basically working full-time because there was enough work to keep me going full-time. And there was some things that needed to be caught up on. So we got caught up on them within a few months, I would say. And then pretty much at that point, Matt talked to me about going full-time for Project. So I thought about it for a while. I originally said no, and then came back and we discussed it some more. And I said yes, and we decided to, on top of the responsibilities I had now, which was basically the maintenance responsibilities, to also start doing some more property management and to be in charge of like turnovers and getting the apartments ready for when tenants move out and as they're moving out and doing more inspections. So it was a pretty quick moving up through the Prozic family.
Yeah. How is that going? Is it what you expected? Is that what you were working toward, or it just kind of happened and you're going with it?
Really just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And just kind of going with it. And I think it's going great. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely a work in progress and doing what I can do to move things on.
Yes. And in addition to that, I know you also are a licensed inspector.
Yes.
Do you want to share a little bit about that
Sure.
as well?
I went to school during the wonderful COVID times. I went to school for my home inspection license. So I am a licensed home inspector in New Jersey. So with that knowledge and things that I've seen, I can see problems maybe a little quicker than other people, and I can probably diagnose things a little quicker, even if I'm not on site, just by how they're describing. So it's, I think it's a good knowledge to have, and I'm happy that I did it.
Yeah. Goes hand in hand. Okay. And when did you join the team again officially?
Officially March of this year, unofficially November of last year.
Okay. All right. Sweet. What about you, Tyler?
I started, I think 3 years ago, right after COVID. Well, when I first met with Tommy, it was like during COVID to learn about real estate, and because I really wanted to invest in properties.
Yeah. Where did that idea come from to begin with? Did you see someone else doing it? Did you hear about it?
Well, I knew that Tommy
Sparked it.
was an agent. I didn't know that he was investing in properties, but I
Gotcha.
always wanted to invest in properties just because I like the idea of like the passiveness of it. And like I just saw that as like a good route to getting to that passive income thing. But yeah.
Okay. Where were you sourcing your funds at the time
I was a
to
bartender.
invest? Okay, sweet.
So,
Bartender, super
yeah.
different from what you do now. Are you still bartending?
I am, but I'm coming up on like my last couple
What?
months.
Okay.
Because this is getting so busy.
Yeah.
And I actually, like, before I went on vacation, I told them, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this anymore. Because there's a lot of late nights. And there's a lot of early mornings with this.
Absolutely.
So-
And you've been there for a long time.
11 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's where I
not
made
easy,
my,
for sure.
my funds to come up with to start investing and stuff.
Okay, very cool. So, what is that like? I mean, you, similar to John in a sense, you kind of fell into the role and then things kind of started happening and you went
Yeah.
with the flow. looking back at the 3 years that you've been on the team, what are some of the ways in which it's challenged what you thought you could do?
I didn't think that I would ever get to this point. I never wanted to get to this point, but the way that Tommy brought me into it and taught me so much, it just made it so easy. He's such a good like leader, mentor. It just made it super easy to like flow into the process.
Yeah, that's something that I tend to note as well. Is John mentioned this when he was talking about talking to Matt and getting hired full time, and then you talking to Tommy and getting hired and integrating yourself in the team. Tell me a little bit more about the qualities that you enjoy in working with Tommy. Like, what makes it so good about working with him and being so invested in your role?
I just think that he's a very good natural leader, and I think that he cares so much about the people around him. Like, there's things that happen on a day-to-day basis where like a normal person I feel would just like flip out and like be like, this is insane. Like, I don't know, like mistakes, like problems that we have to deal with, all this stuff. And he just keeps such a level head and is able to like guide all of us in the right direction. It just makes it so easy to work. That's what the environment that we are in is just perfect.
Do you see yourself leading a team at some point when the
I
company
would-
continues to expand?
I would like to start leading the team into like the leasing department type of stuff and the new business type of stuff. I think that stuff's very fun. I like leasing apartments, especially in like the nicer, newer apartments.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've leased beautiful apartments and I've leased the worst apartments possible. So I see the different tenants, and it's just a fun process. I feel like I like going and showing the apartments. I like screening the tenants, talking to them on a daily basis, learning about them. It's just very fun. So that's why I wanted to shift more into that role. And I told Tommy that in the beginning. Even this year, I took like a pay cut so that we could bring more people, Chandler more full time into the team. And I like just went more on like a commission based thing so we could build and get bigger and better.
Okay, very cool. No, it's neat to hear because
Yeah, you don't hear this stuff.
yeah, from someone who wanted to just invest,
Yeah.
that's it, step aside, keep doing my own thing, to now being fully in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool to see the evolution
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. What about you, Chandler?
This goes back last year, right before I moved down to Florida. So I had plans to move down to Florida with my roommates that I lived with in college. And at the same time, the woman that used to work for Visa, she was being let go. And Tyler would always constantly tell me about all the issues that they were facing with her, and just how stressful everything, like how stressful she made everybody else's lives. And I remember just constantly always thinking, like, this stuff seems so simple. And they let her go, and at the same time, I was moving down to Florida. I was gonna have a lot more free time. I stopped working at the bar, and I was like, okay, if you guys need somebody, I'll do this. It'll keep me busy. I'll have something to do, and I'll be like in constant communication with like Tyler, Tommy, Ryan. John wasn't there at the time, but like all these guys from home. So I was like, this is gonna be like a cool experience. And it started off with just plain and simple tenant correspondence, answering text messages, small coordination with the contractors here and there, but I wasn't reaching out to any of the contractors. I wasn't doing anything on that front. If we got a message through Buildium, I'd let Tommy and Tyler know, and they'd reach out to a contractor. And then it was specifically the 357 Seymour water leak that took my role from just plain and simple tenant correspondence to a whole month of nonstop communication between contractors, residents, the owner, almost every single day from like 8 to 8 o'clock. It was like a crazy thing. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm already like full, like going full throttle in on all of this stuff. Maybe I could just like take over all of it. So going into the new year, I moved on from just plain tenant correspondence to handling all of the repair requests, handling onboarding of tenants, communication between all of the vendors and the contractors and the owners, and like everything on that front. So I guess it's another thing just kind of fell into place
Yeah.
unintentionally.
Yeah, you had to sink or swim at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, what are some of the things that, in your real estate experience so far have brought you out of your comfort zone?
I think just constantly being on the phone with people. I remember there was this one day, I remember looking back at my phone log, I did maybe like 30 to 40 calls.
Oh, shoot.
So it's just, I think nonstop being on the phone, dealing with problems as they come in, coordinating things and just trying my best to handle issues face on and immediately in the moment, as opposed to maybe having some time to sit and like think on things. So I think that was like a huge change, just learning how to like react and get things done as quickly, efficiently as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I for sure can resonate with you on that. I do feel while it is really rewarding to be able to connect with people and communicate with them and know that you did something well, you added value.
Yeah.
It's also very draining for, by the end of the day, you're like, oh boy, like I need to step back and recharge for a minute here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if it's not coordinated between me and John, and if it's a third party owner, it goes from we receive a request and then I have to reach out to a third party contractor, which they all are busy already, but to these residents, it's like there's their unit and that's it. So if something happens at their unit, they want it done right away, of course. So I have to reach out to a third party contractor, try to get them to get over there as quickly as possible, while at the same time reaching out to the owner, trying to get the price that the contractor sent over to us approved, and then trying to coordinate with the tenants to get the time frame, because everyone works, everyone's busy during the day and everything like that. So it's just like a multi-step process for like one fix. So sometimes that takes 2-3 days between getting approval, getting the parts, getting the access and coordination, and then making the repair.
Right. So you all have had a few spins and turns at it at this point in terms of orchestrating and communicating with key parties, whether it's contractors, clients, business partners. What are the top 1 or 2 things that you need going into these conversations or relationships to ensure efficient communication?
With the tenants?
With any of the stakeholders. So whether it's, let's say, a client, a tenant, let's say an owner, whether it's a teammate, anyone.
For tenants, I think it's very important, and I think that I enjoy doing this, going and meeting with them. Like if we start managing a new property, I like to go and meet all the tenants.
In person.
Yes, because it kind of puts a face to the people, and it's not just some random company that's managing you, asking you for your rent, and trying to schedule repairs. It puts like a person behind that phone call and stuff like that. So it makes it easier for them to communicate with us because they know who we are.
Okay. So number 1, meeting in person helps a lot.
Very important.
I think it also helps lower people's guard.
Yes.
Initially, because like you said, you're here asking me for money. I don't even know who you are. Like, so it does definitely help the relationship. I do feel like, and on the build side, it's similar. Once a homeowner, let's say for instance, or a buyer has been in contact with someone from the team, it just eases the worries
100%.
a little more for sure. What about you, John?
Piggybacking off Tyler a little bit, I think it's similar to almost like a networking group, whereas as you meet people and talk to people more, you gain trust. And I think that's an important part of starting any relationship, whether it be a tenant, a contractor, anybody on a team. You need to learn what they're capable of doing. And once you gain a level of trust, then that relationship grows. And I think trust is a huge factor. This way, the tenants know that we're going to answer them quickly, and they trust that the problem will get resolved as quickly as possible. So I think that's big. I think just to keep them happy and know that we're going to help them as quickly as
Yes,
we can.
absolutely. And also just the consistency in terms of the point of contact
Right,
that
who
they
they
have.
see every day or every time they call. They see the same person. So you might have to ask them maybe to leave a key because they can't stay home that day. They're going to know it's the same person coming and they've met him several times in the past, and they'll trust that they'll be able to let that person in and do what they need to do without causing any havoc or
Yeah.
Yes.
problems.
No, I agree. How, maybe this is a question more geared toward Tyler, but how do you maintain that personalized touch as you continue to expand and your clientele pool does get larger?
From the moment that I lease an apartment, obviously they see my face, they know who I am. I'm talking to them on the phone all day long. And then I like to do a follow-up call like a month later just to see how everything's going and see if they need any repairs and stuff like that. And I think that little aspect helps people to like trust us more because they're like, oh, okay, they're here. They care. And then if we don't hear from somebody in a long time, maybe we'll reach out to again and same kind of thing. Be like, hey, how's everything going?
Okay, definitely. I can see you once the team starts expanding, you kind of giving these lessons and passing on the knowledge and
I would enjoy that aspect of having like a team under me
Yeah.
to just like guide them through it because I guess like I have been there the most and Tommy's now in a role where he's like overseeing everybody. So for me to come into that role to more like manage a team, I think that would be really fun.
yes. And also to you, it comes naturally to you. It makes sense. Oh, I want to go see this person and meet them face to face. For others, it's more, especially like I think about, let's say, for instance, my brother, I know he prefers a text rather than a phone call, or like he'd rather, he'd rather go through the chat bot than. So it's interesting how that starts to shift. And I guess it also might change the dynamic on the team depending on who we hire. But it's good that it's, important to you because then that the people that are coming on the team see that from you and they're like, oh, this is an important part of our process here at Visa.
To touch on what Chandler was saying before about the girl that we let go, she was a remote worker. She was from the Philippines. She was like just answering phone calls and stuff like that. And there was a large language barrier. So everything that, like every call would go to her directly and I would always get a call after from the tenants. And they would say like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who this is. So that just to touch on like becoming personal with people. It's hard for her to do that, obviously. So it's not necessarily her fault, but it just didn't work out because there was no personal contact. There was no like face to put behind that person. So
Yes.
I think it made it difficult for the tenants to really trust that person.
Yep.
And they didn't feel like maybe something was going to get done. And that's why they felt the need to call me just to make sure, like almost like double check that it's my sink going to get repaired or whatever it would be.
What would you say to someone who's interested in having their property managed by Visa? Are the top things that distinguish you guys as a team on the market? Because there are a lot of, services for property management. So what makes you guys stick out?
I think our number one thing is that we are a smaller team, but not in a bad way. I think that makes it better because it's more personalized. And like these owners are dealing directly with the people that went and met them at the property. It's not some random person that they're calling like the office and then them saying like, oh, okay, I'll take your number down and we'll get back to you later. They know us, we met them, we went and saw all of their properties, we met all of their tenants, they trust us, and it's just a better relationship, I think. We are able to form a better relationship with them because of us being a smaller team and showing more care to them and their property and their tenants.
I just like some insight living in like in an apartment complex. I have no idea who our property managers are. They've never introduced themselves. We've never got any emails. If we need any sort of maintenance done, there's an app. We go in. We get no follow-up messages or texts. We just get a knock at the door, maybe a week later. And if we're not there, they just come in and leave a note saying that they fixed whatever was fixed.
That's so scary. It's like a
No,
knock at the door.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, are these requests being seen? Are they being acknowledged? Are they going to get fixed? Are they not going to get fixed? And every single thing that comes in, we answer within an hour, maybe even less immediately. So I think it's just a lot more like personable of an experience and a lot more hands-on than maybe a lot of other companies.
Okay. Shifting the conversation a little bit, John, I know you've been working on a few turnover projects here and there. You want to share a little bit more about that? It's exciting. I hear it going on in the background, and basically it's kind of like one day the turnover is agreed on, and then like a few days later, John's like, it's done. Next. It's
been a
been?
good process. I think we're on turnover number 3 at the moment that I'm watching over. We've got a good contractor in place that has a small team that can move pretty quickly. So our goal is to get the turnover done as quickly and as efficiently as possible so we can have a new tenant move into the property. It's been a learning experience for me, but I think it's great. We have another move out that just happened, so I have to get into there and get some pictures and get the contractor set up to go there after he finishes the one that he's currently working on. So it's exciting. I like it. It's great to have. You don't want to have turnovers, but when you do, get them done and get people moved back in. That's what you need to do. When we're upgrading as we turn them over. We're making them look better and replacing appliances and making it a newer looking unit. So that's what they get when they move in.
Have most of the turnovers that the team has done so far, has it been for Project or other owners, or has it been a mix?
It's been all Project at the moment.
Okay, got it. But you do offer the services
Yes.
to other folks?
Yep.
Okay.
We will definitely offer it to third party.
Gotcha. Okay. And so in leading, because essentially you're project management at that point, did you see yourself falling into that role, or what exactly do you enjoy about it?
I think maybe at one time in my life I did. I do have a family member who owns an apartment complex down in the Woodbridge area. I always kind of wanted to work with him or for him, but just never worked out that way. So I've always had it in the back of my head somewhere. My grandfather built houses back in the 50s and 60s. So it's always been there. I've always been hands-on with things. So I think going into that role was kind of natural. It's not anything that's unexpected or it's not something that I am unfamiliar with. So it's great. I'm actually enjoying it.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And with, it seems like we all join this world of real estate for different reasons. So I'll start with you, John. Where do you see it going for yourself, whether it's your own company or whether it's within Project or elsewhere? Where do you see yourself taking this in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
I think with Project, I think the company is going to be is successful and is going to be even more successful over the next 5 to 10 years. I think our owner has a great vision for what he wants to do, and I really want to be a part of it and look forward to growing with the company and continuing in project management or whatever else needs to be done.
Yeah. What about you guys? What's the 5 to 10 year vision?
This is even more of a reason why I'm like getting away from my other job. It's because I just have so much belief in Project and in Visa just to keep going to the next level. And I want to be there to support it in all ways possible. So that's why I want to take all of my time and shift it towards that. And even though like it's at a smaller level now, I just keep seeing it level up more and more in the future, as I have seen over the past 3 years that I've been working with it. It's been crazy, like how much progress there has been on both sides from Visa and Project in the last 3 years that I've been working there.
Okay, cool.
And absolutely. And like they said, and just to touch on what they said, since I've been a part of the team, just the amount of units that we've got under management, whether internally owned or a third party, has just been, I feel like it's doubled since I've been working with everybody, and it's been less than a year. The new technology that we implemented and put into place, and I'm excited to see what's next in terms of whatever technology we decide to add to make everybody's lives easier, and all of the new units under management, new systems in place to make things flow smoother. And I think 5-10 years from now, it's just going to be at an amazing new level.
Okay, very cool. All right, so with that, we're close to time. So I think unless we have anything else that we'd like to add, we can start to wrap up.
What's your vision?
I love that. Yes, it's so interesting to hear you guys and how you've evolved in your roles. I personally feel I've gone through a lot of self-discovery within this role. I think it's reinforced the things that I'm good at, but also brought to light the areas in which I need to challenge myself more in. For me, it's for sure been more the financial literacy component and the negotiation aspect. It's something that maybe I'm not looking to make it my top strength, but in order to do well in this business, like you need to have fundamental knowledge of it. So it's funny you say that. That's when I asked you what's something you're doing in stepping out of your comfort zone. It's something that I have to make a call later today that has had me nervous. But I think about it and I'm like, I was super nervous going into the first podcast and the first time that we did it. And then once you started to get your reps in, it just becomes a lot more easier. So I keep telling myself, okay, I just need to do this one call. And yes, if I mess it up, it's fine. The next call I'll do better. So I think that's something that has been reinforced, not just from our leaders, but also amongst the team. There's a lot of room for error. Yeah. And there's a lot of, within that, coupled with that is a lot of room for growth. So it's always exciting and challenging for me to see you guys doing things outside of your comfort zone, because then I'm like, I need to step my game up. Like I can't just be cruising, not that that's like the default, but it's just a good, I feel, competition and motivation in a way. Yeah. So absolutely. My 5 to 10 year vision, just continue getting better at this game.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But okay. Thanks for the question, Tyler. All right. So with that, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you again, John, Tyler, and Chandler. Super excited to have you here. Again, Chandler, all the way from Florida. Yeah. We hope to have you back soon. Are you coming to the event on Saturday? Are you around?
That's where my flight is.
Oh, no. Okay. That makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No problem. But okay, team, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here for episode 9 and Moments of Construction. Don't forget to like our page, follow, subscribe. We're always happy to have you here. Thanks and have a good one.